Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do 6.3a. We're going to do function operations. Our objectives are to do math operations on our functions. So really short lecture today, you lucky dogs. All right. Something to remember is my function notation. We've used it a lot, but we really haven't talked about it a lot. But my function notation, I could say h of x, I could say f of x, I could say z of x. Those things all just talk about different and unique functions. All right, so I'm going to draw us a little table. So the first piece of our table is going to say math operations. The next piece is going to say definition. And then the last piece is going to be our example of that particular section. So, for example, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is addition. And addition would look like h of x is equal to a function added to another function. All right? And in my examples, I'm going to use that f of x is equal to 5x, and I'm going to use that g of x is equal to x plus 2. All right, so now if I want to do my math, I add those two functions together. So here's f of x, and here is g of x, and then I always want to simplify when I'm done. So 5x plus 1x would be 6x plus 2. And that would be my answer for the addition. All right. The next one will be subtraction. And so mathematically it'll look like h of x is equal to f of x minus g of x. So pretty simple for the math portion. Okay. All right, as I scoot that up, now I'm going to use my two functions. So I'm going to do h of x is equal to f of x was 5x. I'm going to subtract the whole thing of g of x. So I need to make sure that I distribute that negative. So I'm going to have h of x is equal to 5x minus x minus 2, combine like terms, and I get h of x is equal to 5 minus 1, 4x minus 2. And then that one's done. Okay? My next math operation is going to be multiplication. And so that's going to look like h of x is equal to f of x times g of x. All right? So in this one, if I do the math portion for our example, f of x was 5x, and then I'm going to multiply that by x plus 2. So now I can do my box, or I could just distribute since I only have one term. And I'm going to get 5x squared plus 10x. And now that one's done. So really a fairly simple and straightforward process. All right, my last math operation is division. So my h of x on this particular one is going to look like, sorry, it's got crooked, f of x divided by g of x. So if I do that math, I get h of x is equal to my f of x was 5x and my g of x was x plus 2. Now there's more information that we need to talk about these, but not for a couple of days. So I'm going to save additional information for a couple of days. All right, let's do a couple of examples and then we're kind of done. All right, so for our first example, I'm going to tell you that f of x is equal to 6x and g of x is going to equal x to the 3/4 because we've been doing a lot of work with fractional exponents. So I want you to find f of x times g of x, okay, and then I want you to find f of x divided by g of x, okay? So if I do the multiplication first, so I'm going to do f of x times g of x. Here's f of x, and then here's g of x, x to the 3/4. And remember all the work that we've been doing with our fractional exponents. This would be 6x to the 4 over 4 times x to the 3 over 4. So that's going to give me 6x to the 7 over 4. And that's my answer for the multiplication. So now if I do the division, f of x divided by g of x, my f of x was 6x, and my g of x is x to the 3/4. So I'm going to change this 1 to be 4 over 4, because now I can manage the math. So now this is 6x to the 4 over 4 minus 3 over 4. So this is 6x to the 1/4. And now that one's done. So actually, really not a difficult process. All right, next example. 2 more. For this one, f of x is going to equal a negative 2x to the 2/3, and g of x is going to equal 7x to the 2/3. This time, I want you to find f of x plus g of x, and I want you to find f of x minus g of x. All right, so pretty straightforward. Let's do the plus first. So if I do f of x plus g of x, whoops, sorry, can't see that. Let me scoot it up so you can. If I do f of x plus g of x, this is going to equal my f of x 2/3 plus my 7x to the 2/3. Notice that the base and the exponent are the same, so this is going to be 5x to the 2/3. And that one's done. Oh, so simple. So now if I do f of x minus g of x, my f of x is a negative 2x to the 2/3, and I'm going to subtract my 7x to the 2/3. The negative only applies to the 7, so this is a negative 2x to the 2/3 minus 7x to the, oops, that's a 2/3. And when I do that math, I get a negative 9x to the 2/3. And then that one's done. So really very polite. All right, I have one more example for you. I told you today was really short and sweet. That's nice. I'm going to do f of x is equal to 3x, and g of x is equal to x to the 1/5. Alrighty. I want you to find f of x times g of x, and then I want you to find f of x divided by g of x. Okay? Alright, so if I do my first one, f of x times the g of x, it's going to be 3x times x to the 1/5. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3x to the 5 over 5 times x to the 1/5. So this is going to be 3x to the 5 plus 1, 6 over 5. Okay? And there's my first solution. So really very nice and simple. All right, your last one is f of x divided by g of x. Okay? So if I do that math, here's my 3x, and here's my x to the 1/5. I'm going to change the 1 to be a 5 over 5. So now I have 3x to the 5 over 5 minus 1 over 5, and I get 3x to the 4/5. And now that one's done. Yay! All right, so that's your notes for the day. Very short and simple. So let me give you your problems. All right. For these particular problems, f of x is going to equal 2x plus 3, and your g of x is going to equal x squared plus 2x plus 5. Let me get my little camera to focus. Oh, so much better, I think. All right, so here are your tasks. Number 1, you're going to find f of x plus g of x. Number 2, you're going to do f of x minus g of x. 3, you're going to do f of x times g of x. In this one, you're going to want to use a box, just remember. And then in number 4, you're going to do g of x divided by f of x. Switched it up a little bit. Alrighty. There are your problems. Good luck, and I will see you tomorrow.